the heartache that I experienced in my last marriage.
Brendan might be going home after clips in the latest Bachelorette promo give us a big reveal. Hey guys, welcome back to another shared news from home. We're analyzing Brendan and Tayshia's relationship ahead of the finale next week. But before we get into it, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future updates. As always, I'm your host, Gabby Gonta, and I'm joined by the lovely Fiona Zaring today. Hi, Fiona.
Hello, hello.
All right, there's a lot to talk about here with all this Brendan news, so let's get right into it. As we know, Brendan is one of Tayshia's top 3 guys, along with Zach and Ivan. He's been one of Tayshia's front runners from the beginning, but has always shown a bit of hesitation when it comes to fully committing, especially when it comes to a proposal at the end of their journey, which is now quickly approaching as it's just coming up next week. We get a closer look at how they're both feeling in a new promo video, so let's check it out.
I feel like this whole time that we've been here, it's like been quite a journey.
Yeah.
But you were my first one-on-one, and I'm not gonna lie, I was like, I could totally see myself marrying him at the end of this.
Okay, so right from that first date, she already thought that she was down to marry him. Tayshia seems on board here. She's all smiles at the beginning of this date. So do we think she's still there with them? Are those feelings that they developed right early on in that first one-on-one, are they still there? Is she ready to progress with him? What do you think, Fiona?
I absolutely think so. I think Brendan is one of those guys that is sort of slow and steady. Like he started really strong and then he hasn't really had to do much to continue to impress her, to continue to impress us all season. Every time he's given an opportunity, he rises to the occasion. And I mean, his hometown with his niece, I feel like that was just the final box. Like she can imagine him as her husband. She can imagine having kids with him. I really do think she's smitten with Brendan. What about you?
I think so too. I am surprised about why he's had some hesitations all season. I think it's has to do a lot with the fact that he's been married before and that this process is just so fast. But I definitely agree that they would be so cute together, and things have just been going well ever since that first one-on-one date. So in this next clip, Brendan totally agrees with what Tayshia was saying, but he did respond with some of his hesitations.
It brought me to the place where I'm like, yeah, this woman could be someone that I could envision as the mother of my children. But not gonna lie, this has been challenging.
Okay, so he says things have been challenging, but he also says he can picture her as the mother of his children, which is so huge. You know, as you were saying, we saw him with his niece and they had a whole day with the little kid and they were just such a good, I think, dynamic as, you know, a mother and father figure possibly in the future. So that's a big deal. That's not something light to say to her. So does this mean he's all in despite, you know, some of the worries that he's been having as well?
You know, I never like when anyone says this is so great. I'm so happy. But I feel like that but just means there are concerns or, you know, anxieties. And I don't think that for a second Brendan doubts his feelings for Tayshia. I just think that Brendan has been married, been divorced. We saw it in the emotional conversation with his brother. I think that he's one of those guys that went on a reality dating show, but can't fully dive into reality land and is still thinking about if this was the real world, if she's the one for me, why do I need to propose now? Let's get back to real life. Let's, you know, have some conversations without a camera in our face. Let's figure out if this is really real, because if it is, great, we found each other. But if it's not, I don't want to go through ending an engagement or, you know, getting married and then getting a divorce. I just think that that is something he's been through. And so I don't know that he's even at all ever going to be able to shake this hesitation of it's not that I doubt my feelings for you. It's that I don't think I can get on a knee unless I'm 100% sure. I don't know. What do you think?
That's such a great point. I think so many of these contestants, they don't think past Bachelor reality land, which is so important because that's why so many relationships don't work past the fact that, you know, they're on the show and the cameras are there and there's a certain way that you live your life and way that you go on dates with this person. So mad props to, you know, the couples that have worked out of this Bachelor bubble, I guess. But You're so right, Brendan. He's thinking about the future. He's done this before. So those are real hesitations that anybody would have at this point when you've just met someone, even for a few weeks, although you really love and care for them. So that all makes sense. There's one last part of the clip where Brendan really looks stressed. So let's take a look at what he has to say.
Not gonna lie, this has been challenging past couple days and past few weeks for me. And
so big deep breath right there. Do we think Brendan might be revealing something to her, or why do we think he's so hesitant here again?
You know, I think, to be honest with you, if I'm Brendan, I'm logically in my head going like, I spent X amount of time dating someone, falling in love with them, convincing myself that I was going to spend my life with this person, got down on a knee, went through with the ceremony. I did like all of that in real time in the real world, and it didn't work out. So I feel like when push comes to shove, he may have like just seen his family and realized that like there is a real world and this process looks nothing. He doesn't have, there's just no way he has as much certainty right now sitting at that table with Tayshia as he did when he proposed to whoever it was in the real world, right? So I feel like if you're Brendan, you're maybe just about to drop the bomb of like, I don't walk away from you, but I can't propose to you. And I feel like I sit at home and go, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But we all know in Bachelorland, as logical as these conversations are, they don't typically work out very well. So I don't know. I'm getting a little nervous. What about you?
I'm getting so nervous because Brendan is like my top pick for her. So I'll be really sad if they don't work out. And it certainly is looking like it's going to go that way. Her face, you know, in that clip was just pure disappointment, I think, because I think she wants Brendan to be able to get there and he just maybe isn't. And that reminds me of her and Ben, where she was totally on board for Ben and really wanted to progress their relationship, but he just couldn't express himself. He couldn't get over, you know, the hump of just fully committing. So I think that's going to be the same issue here with Brendan. Okay, well, next step is to do a little bit more digging. We can also compare the silver dress she's wearing on this date to the promo clips of her in the same dress. Let's take a look.
I never want to experience that heartache that I experienced in my last marriage.
Okay, so from what it looks like, she's very upset. She's outside. It looks like she just sent somebody home. So what are your initial reactions? Do we think this could be Brendan?
Well, I love being a Bachelor detective because if you like try hard enough, you can crack the promo code. And we have been wrong in the past, but I will say this certainly looks like she was wearing that dress at dinner. We've seen her send people home, you know, on dates before. She doesn't like to drag things out. Once she knows, she knows. And in that last clip, we saw him, you know, his face looked like he was about to deliver some bad news. So unfortunately, if I'm laying all of my like clues and facts out on the table right now in front of me, it looks like, you know, Brendan may be either being sent home from Tasha because she just doesn't like what he has to say, or sort of offering her like, this is the best I can do. And if you don't, you can't settle for not a proposal, but for XYZ instead, I think I have to go home. You know, the possibilities of how it'll play out are endless, I guess, but I don't know. I'm starting to think he might be the one in that car. What do you think?
I think so too. It's tough. I mean, this all seems to add up. I'm sure, you know, their date probably didn't go as planned necessarily, and they had those hard conversations at the dinner table, and then it didn't end well. But I'm gonna hold on to whatever hope we have that Brendan makes it a little bit farther. But I'm gonna throw a wrench in things a little bit more, because there's also a possibility that maybe Brendan sends himself home, and that's why she seems pretty upset in that silver dress promo moment. So this could also mean, taking it one step further, that there's a world where she could let Ben come back, since in theory there would be a new spot open or a new chance for her to pursue a different relationship. So these are two new theories I'm throwing at you, but what do you think about the possibility of those things happening?
You know, for some reason, and maybe it's just because I don't want him to send himself home because it would just break my heart. I feel like Brendan isn't going to hit us with a never mind. Like, I actually don't like you. Like, right? Like, I just don't see him being like, no, I don't think I can do this. Like, he's been too all in, too vulnerable from day one. I feel as though he will be posing the I cannot propose, but I want to be with you. And I think that that will probably ultimately lead to whether her giving him the ultimatum of, well, I want to be engaged, and him saying, okay, well, then I have to go, or, you know, something along those lines. I would like have to give up doing this job if Brendan fooled me this long that he's suddenly going to be like, no, I don't want to be here. I don't like you. And as far as Ben goes, listen, it's been a crazy season. I think the reality is he did not get in that car and drive out of the bubble. We know he has unfinished business with Tayshia. I think producers and Ben are going to be doing everything they can to, you know, continue to mix things up, keep all of her possible connections available until the very last second. So, you know, I feel like the question with Ben is he does want to tell her he loves her. He does obviously care for her. But is it going to be a Bennett situation? You know, if Ben walks back through the door, is he going to get to say his piece and then be sent home? Or is he going to be kept around? I mean, will she be able to pick him confidently as the one after already sending him home? I don't know. What do you think, Gabby?
It is really tough with Ben. Just for my own selfish reasons, I would love to see, you know, that moment where he comes back and professes his love just to like seal the deal and, you know, finish that business, I guess, that they still have to talk about.
I've never felt this feeling, but I'm in love with you.
I really don't think it's going to make a difference, like you mentioned, because she sent him home for a reason. These other connections with these other two guys, Zach and Ivan, are so strong at this point. It's just like you have to start, you know, making tough decisions. So I think it'll be honestly good for Ben, though, when he does come back and say this, because otherwise he might be holding on to this regret for a really long time and just feel bad about himself and wish he did things differently. I'm sure he already wishes he did things differently, but hopefully he gets a little bit of that redemption chance next week, which I think we'll see. So it's tough. I think in the end, it's going to be Zach or Ivan based on everything we've seen, everything we've talked about. And then I don't even want to talk about Ivan versus Zach because that's a whole other story. But for now, I think we can, you know, fast forward to that moment at least. All right, guys. Well, that's all we have for you in this Brendan and Tayshia update. But of course, we want to know your thoughts. So let us know down in the comments. What do you think Brendan's going to reveal to her that maybe gets him sent home next week? And do you think he's going home? And do you think Ben is coming back? And what's going to happen with that? Let us know all of your thoughts about everything leading up to next week's finale. And before you go, make sure you subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future Bachelor videos. I'm your host, Gabby Gonta, and I was joined by Fiona today. You can follow us on socials at our handles on the screen right now. Come say hi. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.